You know what really grinds my gears? When people say, just be like Apple. Just create a product and an experience that people love. High quality, high craftsmanship, but a huge attention to detail, and just make people so passionate about your product that they just keep coming back. And at the end of 2018, going into 2019, I think that comparison has just exhausted itself beyond belief. But that being said, something happened yesterday on October 30th at the latest Apple announcement where they announced the new iPad, the MacBook Air, the Mac Mini. They reintroduced their Apple Today. It's basically these in-store sessions that you can attend as a consumer to come and learn how to do various things with Apple software and with Apple hardware. Things like video production, photography, music, coding, that kind of thing. But the underlining message isn't just, come learn our products. We want to, show you how to use a Mac Mini, and the whole feeling of it is you might be going in just getting sold on a Mac Mini or an iPad or that kind of thing. The underlining message is, come learn how to create. Come learn how to use our software to make amazing things. And I think that that's what Apple does really well, and it's in their messaging is what you should look to when you're looking to grow your consultancy, your agency, or even your product to consumer experience. There's a lot in the messaging and in what they're doing with Apple Today that you can pull from, and not just the crazy build an awesome product and make people salivate over the next version. It's not just about that, it's about how they're connecting with the consumer. So every time around the holiday season, I always think about my good friend Clint Warren, sadly passed away a few years ago. He was building and running an amazing business of training people how to use WordPress in a local environment, in a local context. So while everyone was racing to build their online memberships and become that next internet marketer or at least info product salesperson, he was really focusing in on the experience of training people in person in a local environment. He was doing really well with it, and quite frankly, charging ticket prices that were way more than what a membership site was charging for, and he was getting them because the value was right there in front of him. It was right there for the user to come in and see and interact with somebody. And I'm still curious, as this is many years later now, I still don't see a lot of that happening. I still see the same push to online membership courses. I still see the price going down in terms of what people are charging. And I really have to step back and think about, well, I could be going to my local market and interacting with customers and training and educating them at a higher ticket price, or free, and then just gain exposure to myself. Let's talk about that. So this is what I really like, that a company the size of Apple is really focusing on in-person workshops. Think about your typical internet info marketer, entrepreneur. They have nowhere near the amount of an audience or a customer base of Apple. They would grow tremendously if they focused on in-person, but there's this sort of, I don't want to do it that way. I want to get away from interacting with people and just have people buy my stuff. The sad thing to say is, even if you're doing it that way, even if you're looking at digital products and info products and services where you don't speak to people, you need to speak to people. There's no way around it. I don't think you can just put up a landing page anymore, capture some emails, throw up some Facebook ads, and people will just convert. Maybe they will for a short amount of time or short percentage of your business, but to ultimately grow and scale, you're gonna need to get out there, not only just creating content and interacting with people, but getting out there and talking to people to say, how to use my product, what can I improve, and look for new areas of opportunity. Apple isn't stupid. They realize that this is a great marketing channel for them as well. Even though you're not going into the store expecting to get upsold on a product, the outcome is just this thing, this education, this thing that will always remain with this customer, with this individual who came in and learned how to shoot better video, do a better job with their photography. And that's something that's going to last them forever. And then just sort of condition them to think, well, what else can I learn from Apple? What else can they teach me? Who knows if Apple ever came out with kitchen appliances? They might have a cooking or a culinary workshop that you could attend. It's infinitely amount, or there's an infinite amount of possibilities in education. But I think the one thing that we're all missing is, why don't we do this stuff? Why don't we do this stuff in person and maybe even do it for free? Again, I know a lot of people who came from the consulting world, the agency world, and they're trying to get into digital products, they're trying to get into SaaS, or they have been in digital products and they have been into SaaS, and eventually they hit this plateau of growth, of finding new customers. And then it's at that point, a year, 2 years into it, where they say, well, I guess it's time to create a podcast. I guess it's time to create some content. I guess it's time to have some user feedback videos of my customers interacting with my product so I can learn a little bit more. If people wove in a workshop or an in-person event or just became more human with their customers, which is what Apple is really trying to do, I believe, with this Apple Today and the sessions and the events that they hold in store, you're really hooking on to a customer without having to do the Facebook ads, the paid promotions. In my last video, when I said you had to actually create long-form testimonials from customers, if you can sit down with them for an hour and really pull out the true story, although that's going to be very difficult for most customers to give you that amount of time, the consultants and the agencies that do it are actually really going to get a leg up on the competition. And no matter if you're a product or a SaaS business, the more you can interact with your customers, the better chances are you're going to keep them around and they're going to refer you, because referral business is huge. And as we all move into these paid platforms, we see how things have changed so dramatically, so quickly, and have become a lot more expensive. So Facebook, Instagram, YouTube ads, Google paid ads, all of this stuff is just this, 40 cents out of every dollar that you take into your business, you're now pumping into these ads. And for what? Who's really winning here? It's these platforms. I think now that we've seen all of the sort of data privacy, the lack of communication and clarity and transparency with these big organizations, now is the time to really reinvest in your organic content, blog posts, webinars, in-person sessions, podcasts, your YouTube channel, and just being a face of your business. Right now is the prime time to get back into this stuff and really give a concerted effort in the organic content. And I think that's the big lesson that Apple is teaching us, not with their products, not with their big astronomical sales numbers, not with the new iPhone and the new iOS stuff, but it's how they're reconnecting with the customer and educating them and using that as not only a lead-in to the new technology, new products, but to keep these customers around and to give them an experience that says, well, Apple isn't just selling me products, but they're teaching me how to use this stuff. So why not sell websites that help people blog, but do these free sessions on how to blog, right? Blogs should be making a comeback now, especially with all the social media stuff. You want to own your content, run programs like that in your local area, run workshops, paid or not paid, totally up to you. But I think there's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of educational things, points that we can learn from what Apple's doing and look at their messaging and less than the shiny stuff that they produce. So let me know in the comments below, what are you running at a local level? Are you running workshops? Are you going to do it online? I mean, one of the things I'm thinking about for my local podcast is just how to do email newsletter signups, right? And I might either do that in like a lunch setting where I invite a bunch of local folks to lunch, and I do a quick demonstration on how to gain signups for your website and how to use that email list. And the idea there is to just drive interest to my podcast, just little snippets of information that I can teach people really quick. We can all sit around and have a nice lunch, and then just really interact with other business owners just to see what it's like. That's one thing I might test out for the We Are Here podcast over at southcoast.fm if you want to check that out. But what do you got going on? Let me know in the comments below. What do you think about all of this stuff? Training people, educating people, membership sites. What's going on in your world? Let me know. It's good to see all of the comments below. We'll see you in the next video.